Hello everyone! Pineapple here with the second last of them out, but the final of the initial Fear Street trilogy. Fear Street Part 3, 1666. That year tagline alone, a pretty big departure from the other two. Last time we saw Ziggy's story and did a pretty good camp slasher flick. But the film ended with Dina flashing back into the body of the witch herself, Sarah Fear. Now while these films past the first have the expectation of an opening scene, the story and epilogue, this one shakes up the formula again. The first half of the film being 1666, and the second half being called 1994 Part 2. And this time not spoiled in the next time trailer. It's a really well done rug pull. Something these creators do well, based on Sam and C's identities in the last films. Of course, we get a previously on trailer, but start where we left off. Now, it's a little trippy, but once you understand it, it gets simpler. It's Sarah Fear's story, but all the characters of 1666 are played by actors from the last two films. Some in the same family line, some only alike in identity. Dina and Josh embody Sarah and her brother, and we see how happy and free their village of pilgrims are. Familiar faces around, like Kate as Lizzie, the Bermans as Constance and Abigail, Simon as Isaac, Tommy Slater as arsehole drunk Mad Thomas, Sam as Sarah's doomed Yuri love Hannah, and many more. And while not all of them are perfect, I really like that they're all trying the accent. It shows effort put into the roles. Sarah makes the trip to see her intended Nick Good as Solomon Good. It's clearly a very uncomfortable situation for the both of them, but they do have a nice chemistry. The teens of the village travel out at night, coming upon a witch's hut. Sarah finding the Necronomicon, well, the Satanist book that allows communication with the devil in this universe. But she's thrown out by the widow. At the party, everyone's having fun and they take magic berries, tripping the fuck out. Sam is almost just straight up assaulted by Mr. Boner over here, with Sarah defending her along with a really overused gasp sound effect.
Bitch.
But the girls run away into the middle of the woods to frolic.
That thing you do with your tongue.
Yeah, could we not talk about that here?
It turns out Thomas was watching, and after some scares, Hannah reveals her father is ill, possibly possessed, and reveals they're not supposed to be together thanks to the stereotypical homophobic mother who throws her out of the house, and it even seems Hannah might have some self-hatred due to her own thoughts and religion, which is a pretty interesting take, even if it's not really explored at all. It turns out Thomas has been spreading the word around town. And this is really the only time we see the drunk father in either timeline, Dina having the same issue, and just like Hannah, he's played really interestingly here. Sure, he's an absent drunk, but he actually criticizes his own parenting and being an absent drunk, failing his kids, allowing them the freedom to sin. Sure, he's still a piece of shit, but like I say, it's a really interesting character turn. The town is now hit by a plague, the food rotting, and the once motherly pig has eaten her own young. Sarah doing the only sensible thing and cutting a bitch. Also a really good gross visual to fit the period. Things just get worse as Sarah's dog's been thrown into the well, but at least things seem to be going well with Solomon. But Sarah tells Solomon about this evil possession business, confessing she thinks she's the problem with her women loving. But Solomon is pretty supportive. What a good guy. That's not gonna come back and be proven wrong. It's also made worse by the fact he seems so genuine and caring with the shit he'll pull later. Things, of course, just get worse. The pastor having locked himself in the church with the children, bringing to life another of the killers hinted at in the first movie. Solomon goes into the church alone, but the pastor has already ripped all the children's eyes out. How he managed it either before or after he ripped his own eyes out, I have no idea. It just doesn't seem feasible. Among the dead is Sarah's brother and Sadie Sink, and just as the pastor goes for more eyes, Solomon puts the man down. Of course, they cry witchcraft, so the town comes together, and even with Solomon doing as much as possible to calm everyone down, it becomes a literal witch hunt. As without evidence and in herd mentality, they blame the lesbians and hunt them down, even though they've done all their holy ways of combating this evil. Of course, logically, the only move left is to burn women at the stake. Sarah manages to escape, but Hannah is chained up. And while shot well, the literal witch hunt comes to nothing. Sarah comes to see Hannah, who tells her to run since she's already set to hang. But Sarah reckons if we're already guilty, might as well summon the devil, which is a badass backstory, but unfortunately that doesn't come to pass. I really have to commend, while I have the same problems with the actors that I did in their last appearance, the writers really do well to make the old-timey dialogue all sound very well done. The book is already gone, the owner's body in its place, so Sarah runs to Solomon, who seems a little baffled, but helps her anyway when the mob comes a-knockin'. Man, she has such a good guy on her hands. Too bad, she discovers, thanks to a hidden passageway and some badass action from Solomon, Sarah finds the Witch's Cavern and Mark under his house, revealing in flashbacks he took the book and killed the old woman. He spied the lesbians himself and decided to summon the Flesh Pit, making the deal that he prospers over the deaths of others. He pulls a join me argument, but Sarah is too moral, and fair enough, but seems like that whole might as well be a witch angle disappeared after 1 second. She fights against him with some jarring editing and she escapes, after Solomon brutally rips her hand off. Jesus Christ. She comes out of the tunnels in the church and is quickly captured as she walks into town. The people remorselessly hanging Sarah, who gives Hannah up as someone she bewitched, hoping she'll live. Solomon does the deed himself and she vows vengeance on him. To explain the rock from the second movie, Sarah's friends and Hannah move the body to where it's found in the first film, growing the moss, and they leave the rock in the hole. The actual actress for Sarah actually gets to act here, Elizabeth Scopell. And it's a little messy. She vows to show people what the goods have done, undercutting those words with the vision she gave Ziggy and Sam. But that's bullshit, since the only person she actually told the story to, as we're seeing it now, was Dina. So she isn't very good at this whole vengeance thing, and if that's the case, why do the past killers target those innocents she shows the visions to instead of the goods? Does the devil send them out to the people who supposedly know the truth, who don't really know the truth? I don't know. This aspect needed a bit more fleshing out to explain the rules beyond getting blood on the skeleton equals past killers hunt you. Because then you have to ask yourself, does the witch actually have magic, or is Satan hijacking her bones to show people visions? It's just all a bit messy. With the flashback finished, we have the last 40-ish minutes to resolve the story in 1994 Part 2, which is a hilarious turn to take in the middle of a film, and I'm happy it wasn't spoiled, as if it were, I would have gotten a little sick with how long Sarah's story went on for, and wanted more in the third act. But unlike the next time trailer for Part 2, close to ruining it, the trailer for this one was cleverly done. Also, it's a really funny title card to have halfway in the film. Sheriff Good finds Josh at the side of the road, and is rightfully suspicious. But Dina snatches him and they take off into the woods, and although there's no way Nick Good knows the specifics, he still tries to manipulate Josh, and my god, you know they were really proud of this line.
Good is evil.
Dina and Josh make the great counterpoint to the sheriff's argument by somehow slipping away from the professional lawman and agent of Satan, taking his fucking car. We get a pretty good show of all the goods through the ages giving up shady cider names to trade for their fortune, while Dina gives the exposition, although I'm pretty sure she's giving more info than we see her get. Josh rightfully assumes the killers will be after them now, spawned in all their fleshy glory, but their first stop is to Cease to tell her the truth, paired with some egregious flashbacks to the last film. C's on board, but since she told Nick about their investigating, they seek to fight against him in the most random payoff. They pick up the janitor from the first film.
Want to help us kill Sheriff Good?
Let me get my coat.
It's ridiculous, but his attitude is so interesting and low-key humorous, it works really well. I have no idea who made the call to upgrade him to one of the crew, but it works greatly. Their plan is to split the killers up and lock them in the stores behind the shutters. I feel like supernaturally powerful demon killers could get through those, but whatever works. C comes up with a brilliant plan, calling back to them in movie 2, carrying him in Dina's blood to get the killers after him, setting that up while Martin freaks out, learning the whole story.
Okay. Cool. There's a possessed type of white girl.
All right, I need you to stay calm, all right? I promise we got this all under control.
Okay.
We get some decent trauma shots, and Martin has his revelation about the spray cans. Good, having had pinned his own vandalism on him. A pretty clever twist. I'm sure that's just a snarky line. In no way will that line come back to mean anything else later. They try to write bonding scenes between Dina and Josh, and I think they were trying to be cute by Josh being all like Remember the Konami code? And that sort of hello fellow kid geeks writing feels really out of touch. Sure, it kind of pays off in a couple of scenes, at least thematically, but it's more laughable than clever. Dina has a rousing speech which would probably be more effective if she wasn't making it to her brother, a guy she just met, and a woman they just met, but the flashbacks are really effective. The Home Alone montage is whatever on the whole, but the final result and some of the editing looks pretty cool. Initially, they're detained by normal cops.
Hands up!
No, you listen to me. You don't have any idea what's going on.
We good. No, we cool. We cool.
Listen to me today.
How we cool?
But the killers deal with them allowing the traps to be sprung, catching 4 killers. And them going eerily silent as Good strolls in, C going to confront him. And it's actually nice to see a little bit of the old Nick in performance as well. Well, for those 5 seconds before he's covered, leaving him to fight off the killers, but he doesn't go easy, using C as a human shield. Getting stabbed, but then fighting off a killer until he gets an escape. Dina follows, while the others keep the killers busy. And following Nick leads Dina under the mall straight into the Witch's Mark caves, with a little on the nose, but still interesting visuals. The crew douse the killers in blood, so they fight amongst themselves. It's pretty awesome. But I'll be honest, after this point, as Sam escapes after Dina, none of their actions up top really interest me. It feels a bit jarring whenever we cut back to them, because after their clever plan earlier, I'm more focused on Dina, and cutting away from her and Nick is a tad frustrating to see the other 3 flounder about. Once again, Dina and a Good are fighting and yelling in the tunnels, and she comes upon the flesh pile, having to conk Sam in the face and then go one-on-one with Good, eventually shoving his hand onto the flesh pile and, like with Alice, causing crazy-ass hallucinations, leading him to spiral, giving Dina enough time to absolutely wreck him. The flesh dissipates and Sam is back to normal, the couple escaping out the other end of the tunnels out of the Good's home, and immediately Sunnyvalers are getting their karma reset. Now with the curse lifted, Josh and Dina are happier, me going back to believing their sibling dynamic, and their dad off his drunk ass. C brings the book back to Nurse Lane, and Josh learns his online girlfriend isn't a 50-year-old man, but in fact a cute nerdy girl. The film ends pretty good with the gays making out over Sarah's corpse, kinda rude, and through the credits we get flashes showing someone taking the grimoire from the Good's cavern, setting up a future film. Oddly not the next film, as that will take place earlier in the timeline and be severely lacking. So that was Fear Street. Part 3 and 4, kind of. The end of the initial trilogy, and while there are a few aspects I really don't like, as the finale of the trilogy, I think it works really well. The first half circumvents a lot of the tropes and obnoxious music issues, being pretty solid as its own thing. The actors fitting well and doing the accent marvelously, even if I can't tell you how accurate it is because I'm not a time traveler. While predictable in parts, I wasn't expecting Good to be behind it all. I hear that some people were, so maybe I'm just kinda dense. The second half, while it's nice it's here, and was a pleasant surprise and bookended the story really well, while leaving the door open for more, which makes next movie's decision to go back in time and become really messy with the timeline even stranger. But we'll wait on that for another couple videos. I'll give the end of the initial trilogy, Fear Street Part 3, 1666, a good, with an E, 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching my review of Fear Street Part 3, 1666. I'm pretty sure we'll be doing the 3rd and final bet video until the next season, maybe a Doctor Who book review in there, and then finally finishing off the Fear Street franchise until another movie comes along, hopefully in time for Wednesday Season 2. Please like the video if you liked it, comment down below if you wish, consider subscribing to the channel, and if you do, ring the notification bell so that you're told every single time that I make an upload. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next review. Bye!
Toast. A little piece of toast. Because there's so much to choose from. There's brown bread, white bread, all sorts of wholemeal bread. It comes in funny packages with writing on the side.